we're saving 18 tons a year. Because our trash truck isn't very good anymore anyway. It carries 1 ton per load, but it doesn't go anywhere, so we still have to pick the stuff up. But anyway, if we could figure out how we could do the same thing with plates. Anybody want to volunteer to wash 4,000 dirty plates? You just put them in a garbage can, turn the hose on, right? And then give them back to the people and give them a refund. Well, the reason I'm confused is because he's not from Vancouver, Canada. He's from Vancouver, Washington. And he got lost coming here was that last year? 2 years ago. Have you heard the story about him getting lost? Well, how would he know when he walked across the street in Vancouver which country he was in? I can't figure that out, but here's his story. He drove 2,500 miles one way. Well, how many ways do you want to drive? And the heat was 108, typical comfortable day. He got towed 100 miles the wrong way from Midland and finally made it here. The trip wasn't long enough for him, it was just, So if you can't make it, I mean, how can you make it from Washington to Canada with no trouble and you can't get to Texas? Well, it's a whole other country. Anyway, this is Dan Weber, and when you quit laughing, you can have your song. Dan Weber, ladies and gentlemen.
That's right, my name's Dan. My friends call me Dan. Keeping it simple this afternoon. The thing that Rod didn't tell you that I told him yesterday was, I got here, some of my friends were going to be here, and when I got here they had all left because, well, we got stuck in Midland the wrong direction. And so we got here and we drove down to Lower Meadow and wandered around for a couple days and made some new friends. And one night I came down off Chapel Hill about 5:30 in the morning. I heard this voice singing this song, and the hair sort of stuck up on the back of my neck, and I thought, man, it was the most beautiful thing I think I'd ever heard. But I didn't recognize the language, but I finally picked up the tune as being Danny Boy. I found out later it was in Gaelic, and I walked up to the song circle right there at Camp Caffeine, and this guy looks up, and of course it was the late Jack Hardy. And he looks up and says, man, are you going to stand there or are you going to play a song? I've been here for 3 days and hadn't played a single song. So I played this song. And I wrote it because a friend of mine, she's from Phoenix, 30 years old. She had a backache for a couple of weeks, wouldn't go away. She went into the doctors and she came out with stage 4 lung cancer. And I was thinking about just how funny that perspective is in life that you have, and then it changes so radically. So, wherever my friend Melissa's spirit is today, this is for her. This is called Lost and Found. I wanna get lost, flat tire, broken, busted, heaven's hinges rusted, in a town that don't know my name. But these bridges are burning, they're like a fever returning, and no river can drown that flame. I wanna get lost, I wanna go out in a blaze of old glory, like like the tragic minor story they're still singing. I saw the light, but their breath in the tunnel, it's like a twister's funnel. Jerusalem comes screaming down the tracks, and I can't put it down, and I can't crawl out, 'cause I can't run away from my past. I wanna get lost. I wanna go home when she's 6 feet underwater. Hurricanes, daughter, wash our sins right off the land. But the hand of God is shaking, Mother Nature, she's aching, 'cause the whole world is spinning too damn fast. I wanna go home. All the things I meant to say brought me to my knees, but I've never been one to pray. But please, God, please, please keep her safe there at your side, and tell her I'm alright. I wanna be found in stained glass and floodlights, Mason-Dixon moonlight, another notch on the Bible belt. But this whiskey glass I'm drinking was a desert once, I'm thinking. Fire and water making love at last. And I can't put it down, and I can't crawl out, 'cause I can't run away from my past. I wanna get lost. I wanna be found. Part that Rod didn't read off the sheet there was, I recently had breakfast with Ramblin' Jack Elliott. We played a show together, and we went out for catfish for breakfast, which, I don't know if you know much about Vancouver, Washington. We're just across the bridge from Portland, Oregon. If Vivaldi had lived in Portland, he would have called it 2 seasons instead of 4. But there's not much like catfish for breakfast in Portland, Oregon. And so Jack and I went out to breakfast, and he started telling stories, and about halfway through breakfast, I got out like an old gas station receipt and started jotting things down because I wanted to remember it. And he was like, you know, he'd say stuff like, man, this one time, Dan, for 45 minutes, Jerry Garcia and I had an argument about the proper thickness of a flat pick. Of course, controlled substances were involved. You know, and then he told me about this European tour that started in Sydney, Australia in 1972. And I don't know how Sydney's in Europe, but he said, well, I had a new manager. I had a lot of new managers. And then Jack said, well, this the worst tour I ever did was this 1972 tour. I opened up for Cat Stevens. And then he told me for like 20 minutes of why, like it was the worst tour he ever did, and all it sounded was like a good time, you know? And at the very end of it, he was like, we were down in like Tampa Bay, outside of Tampa, St. Petersburg, and the middle of the night we were riding horses at a friend's house, drunk on tequila, and I fell off the horse, and I'm so proud of the fact that I got back on in the middle of the night. And he's telling the story, and finally I said, Jack, why was this the worst tour you ever did? He said, because the whole time Cat Stevens was being followed by a moon shadow. He's been setting me up for 20 minutes. Couldn't believe it. Gets this little twinkle in his eye. So this is a song about another road trip I took back in 1989. I was following the Grateful Dead around here and there, sometimes everywhere. And I went and saw them in Louisville, Kentucky one night. And somehow, ironically, they played the very worst version of Louie Louie in Louisville, Kentucky you've ever heard in your entire life. But after the show, I was driving south towards Memphis, and I picked this other Deadhead guy up who needed a ride. And this is that story. This is called Hank and Jesus. South of Louisville, Kentucky, on I-65, I pulled into a rest stop before I pushed on through the night. I met this deadhead with a backpack, and man, I knew that guy. He asked, if you're heading south, well, I could really use the ride. But I'm only on this interstate just as far as Bowling Green. Then I'm cutting west towards Memphis, where the blues don't treat you mean. And we drove the blue highways across Tennessee and back, and I don't recall not even once stopping for gas. He said, I know you won't believe me, that's alright. I just wanted someone to talk with tonight. So I drove while he told stories, but they started sounding weird, like he'd been to Woodstock and never came back from there. He said friends of his were angels, and most of them were saints, except this one guy named Judas, who he swore had been framed. Well, he believed what he was saying, man, but me, I had my doubts. So I pulled off at a bar, hoping he might clear out. And we drove the blue highways across Tennessee and back, and I don't recall not even once stopping for gas. He said, I know you won't believe me, but that's alright. I just wanted someone to talk with tonight. Well, in the parking lot, he came clean. He said he was Jesus Christ, and I said, yeah, and I'm Hank Williams, man. Maybe you should drive. He said Hank was back with Audrey now, and they were doing fine. But you know that not one of us gets out of this world alive. So it's 100 miles to Memphis in the middle of the night, with those high beams searching for just a little light. He said life is like this two-lane road, it's a crooked deal. I said she pulls a little to the left, Jesus, keep both hands on the wheel. And we drove the blue highways across Tennessee and back, and I don't recall not even once stopping for gas. He said, I know you won't believe me, but that's alright. I just wanted someone to talk with tonight. He said, I know you don't believe in me, but that's alright. I just wanted someone to talk with tonight.